Alright, so what we are doing is pulling the whole engine and transmission out in one piece. And as you can see here, it's got some damage. Front bumper's being replaced. I got to pull all this stuff out. And it took a hard hit somewhere under here. Ugh. This is all bent up right here and whatnot. But yeah, all of this is gonna have to be pulled. But the bumper's shot anyway, so this is all gonna come off here. From what it looks like, and the previous owner burned through this, so this is just trash, but it looks like it's bolt here, which is already undone, bunch of snaps that need to come out, and this whole thing come out, and I'm gonna also take out this, so I've got to get that to get connectors and whatnot. I'm gonna pull the axles, pull those out. I've already pulled out a bunch of stuff. I'll go and show you what I've done already. Airbox, you know, easy stuff. Airbox, battery. I already had pulled these. I'm gonna unbolt it from here. Pull this entire thing, which is bolted in, off. Pull the starter today. I'm also gonna drain the oil, drain the antifreeze, and drain the transmission fluid. I already pulled the exhaust header cover off. It's gone. This should just pop off somewhere. Yeah, there we go. So that's gone. Spark plugs and all those are gone. And so that's pretty much what I've done so far. Hood's gone, as you can see, obviously, to help get this out. But I mean, it's not going to be easy, but I don't think it'll be that bad. One motor mount, second motor mounts down there, third's back there, fourth over here. So once I get alternator, AC compressor off, exhaust off, all these wires, intake off, all the connectors in the back, ECM unplugged, and undo the motor mounts, this should come out as one piece, and then I'm just going to split the transmission from the old engine, put it on the new one. Got the new engine right over here, 32,000 mile LKQ engine, ready to go. All harnesses and everything like that. And so it's a little bit dirty. Came from Ohio. Had some winters up there, but all in all, 6-month warranty, 6,000 miles. Good to go. So, anyways, some parts right there. This is the project, and we're gonna get started. All right, so while I'm working on the bumper, I'm gonna also start on draining stuff. This is oil. And the good news is I only saw a very small amount of water come out. It came out like a chocolate milkshake, very light colored, and then the rest came out dark. So the oil and water had separated in the oil pan, and very, very little came out, which, you know, backs up what happened to this car. Very little water got in it, but obviously enough to destroy the engine by hydrolock. So we're gonna move over here in a second, pop that bad boy off, drain the transmission fluid. That's where I'm curious. It's a sealed transmission, so no water should have gotten in there, but you know, we'll take a look at it and see, but we're just letting these drain out, and then we'll move on to the coolant. Alright, so interesting thing, when getting this fender liner out, looks like this is a one-way thing. I had to break this out, but this goes in here like that, and it's attached to this fender liner circle right here. So, you're gonna have to bust these out completely. They will not come out being pried, like you can't squeeze them or anything like that. So just giving you a heads up, you're gonna have to buy some of those. These are special. I don't have any of these in my kit, so just to be. Hey guys, sorry about that. So my GoPro decided to die, so I went in and finished up my work yesterday. I don't know exactly where I left off, but what I ended up doing is disconnecting all of this from the fuse box. It's two 10mm bolts, and they go like that, and then these connectors here. I also took out the starter. It was two 12mm bolts on the side, and then one 12mm for here. So the starter's out. Mainly pulled it because I want to test it out. I don't know how much damage was done to this car when they first tried to start it after it got hydrolocked. They could have tried, you know, destroying that starter, and really it looks good. The teeth are all there, nothing chipped, so I think it's going to be fine, but I pulled it so I can test it at like an AutoZone or O'Reilly's. So today I'm going to try two different things. I'm going to try getting the exhaust manifold out of here. I'm going to pull all these bolts. I believe these are 10s or 12s. We'll find out in a minute. Got to pull the O2 sensor, and then I've got to get those bolts down there on the flange. Now, it's what I did yesterday, and I'll get you down there real quick, is I went ahead and disconnected the donut, or the exhaust manifold from the downpipe, and you can see the donut here. And this was 2 spring-loaded 14 millimeters. So this is now, it's loose. So I just need to get the header out, or really it's not a header, it's just exhaust manifold. Get it out, and that way that's off the front of the car. And also today I want to drain the coolant out of this thing. So I got this cool new tool, Bauer Lithium 20-volt impact, and it is awesome. It just destroys it, and even taking some of the plastic off the splash shield, which is fine. There's still enough left to take it out. So that's what I'm doing right now. We're just gonna impact these bad boys off and get this splash shield off. So let's see. These are all 10 millimeters. And once those are off, then you have these really awesome and annoying clips here. So you're gonna have to get that special trim removal tool, and I'll show you that here in a second. All right, so these are the clips, and then I have this special trim removal tool. Pull it down, and it pops right out. That's all you need. Just kind of got to wedge it in there. It's hard to do it one-handed, but there you go. Kind of wiggle it down. And there it goes. And this whole thing will come loose. And this will remove the splash shield so you can get to the radiator. So let me get to that. Alright, so as you can see, got the splash shield off. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to zoom like that. And we are currently draining the radiator. Coolant looks great. Looks like it was recently serviced. It's bright pink and clean, but fortunately, can't stay. It's the moment I take off those hoses from the engine block, and when we get it out, it's just going to go everywhere, so I'd rather do it this way. But if you want to know how to do it, right, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this in the dark here. Right there. That yellow spigot, you turn it pretty much to where it almost comes all the way out. But you stop right before it comes out, otherwise the whole thing will pop out and then you got a huge mess. And it comes out of that spigot at the bottom. It's barely hitting the frame, but it's enough that it's manageable. I got a Harbor Freight, 8-quart drain here, and it's catching it. So, draining this stuff right now, and once it's done, we will seal the system back up. And in the meantime, I'm going to start working on the header bolts. Alright, so for this part, 14 millimeter, but man, it was hard. I ended up hitting it with some concentrated PV blaster, and then I had to use a breakover bar on it, and only then would it actually break loose, and then I just unratchet it now, and out she comes. But that was easy on this side because I had direct access. The other side, not so much. We're still draining here, so I can't really get a good angle, but let's get it from the top. From the top here, you can see it's at a weird angle where I need to get it. It's that one all the way down there. My only hope, maybe, is if that goes into the flange, I can maybe hit this one and bust it out and the whole thing comes loose. I need to see it from the bottom though, so I'm not sure yet. But 14 millimeter, PB blast it, and I also hit it on the O2 sensor because that's not going to come off easy either. Alright, so a tip. Put rags in here. I was running the 14 millimeter up on the second bolt and it dropped down into the downpipe, and I had to go get a special magnet on a curvy rod to get it out. So put rags in your downpipe or plastic bags or something that'll prevent the bolt from going in there if it pops off. Just learn from my mistakes. Should have seen that coming. Alright, so for the bolt that's hard to reach, you can see my extension. What I had to do is come up from the bottom of the car with a small extension. It's a breakover bar, so it's not a ratchet. You can use a ratchet if you got one that long, but breakover bar with an extension, 14 millimeter 6-sided. Don't use a multi-point to that bottom bar, and I actually got it. So that's how you get the secondary bolt off for the downpipe header connection. Lower bolts are gone. You have 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 12 millimeter deep socket bolts for the header, or her exhaust manifold, you're going to have to pull your alternator to get to this one, unless you can finagle some short thing, but just the angle, and it's so close, you're going to have to pull your serpentine belt and pull your alternator to get to this exhaust bolt. So, pull your alternator. I've already broken these 4 loose, and then you can get the exhaust manifold out. Also, one other thing, you do not have to remove your O2 sensor from the pipe. Follow the connector, and it routes underneath this plastic thing into this plug. Simply unplug it, unroute it, bam. Your O2 sensor is free to be removed out of the car when you pull the exhaust manifold. No need to unwrench it and potentially damage it. Much, much easier. Sorry I didn't put this in earlier. Moved on to the alternator here. I got to get the alternator out of the way because I got to get the AC bracket or AC compressor down here, and it's on its own little bracket. The belt tensioner is this thing right here. You can actually take a pry bar and move it back and forth. You can't use one of these standard serpentine belt tensioner tools because it actually, when you try to come down, hits the AC lines. So I just took a pry bar, moved it, and then pulled the belt off. So once you take that off, this is a 14, and the bolt is right here. So that's the bolt. You pull that bolt out. It's actually loose, but it's, wedged in that cradle. You'll have to come over here, pull this boot off, and that's going to be your bolt. It looks like a 10. We'll check that in a minute. And then there is a connector right here. You're going to have to pull that connector off. Also, it is connected to the alternator, this wire right here, down there on that clip, right down, focus. Right down there, right where I'm pointing. You got to pull that clip out, and I think it's clipped in up here too, right here. So you have to unclip all that and unbolt it, and then you should be able to pull the alternator out. And from there, I'm going to go for the header, the last bolt on my exhaust manifold. I keep calling it header, sorry. Last bolt on the exhaust manifold is right here. I couldn't get to it because the alternator, once the alternator comes out, I can get that last bolt, pull the exhaust manifold out, and then we'll go for the AC compressor down there and zip tie it to the frame because it is staying in the car because I'm not breaking these lines loose. So now when you're doing this either on the reverse or if you're okay with opening your AC compressor, you don't have to pull your alternator or your exhaust. But if you want to keep your system intact and not lose the Freon and introduce it to contaminants, alternator, exhaust, AC compressor, pull your belt out, disconnect all your hoses, and I think we'll be getting close to start undoing bolts. But I got a ton of hoses, ton of connectors, but we're making progress. So I'm gonna disconnect these things here real quick, get the exhaust, pull it all out, and we'll go from there. Alright, let me show you what that is. So, these are the connectors. You got to pinch each side of these in, and then it comes out of this hole. So you got one there. We're going to do the one at the bottom. Okay, I was wrong. There was one more bolt. It's right there at the bottom. You see my socket on it, and I'm going to warn you, it is on there tight. It's possible tighter because I put so much pressure on it after I undid the top bolt. But I ended up having to take a breakover bar, throw it on there, and then go forward to snap it open. So there are two bolts, one at top, one at bottom. So I'm going to work on getting this thing out. So hopefully I can pull the alternator. I can take the last bolt off the manifold.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Video is going to stop here. I did end up getting the alternator out. I had to twist and move it around the wiring harness, but it did come out. Stay tuned for my future videos of getting the AC compressor out and the tips and tricks to get that out, because it doesn't come out without taking apart the front of the car. So stay tuned for that. Appreciate you guys watching. Hope this helps you out. Have a good one.